Cleaning a carburetor isn't hard, but there's more to it than simply spraying solvent in the carb throat. In this video from the MC Garage, I'll show you how to clean one of these guys. The carburetor is responsible for supplying the engine with fuel and air in a very specific ratio. To do this, the carb relies on various passageways and orifices, but sometimes those little holes can get clogged. When they do, it's time to take the carburetor apart and give it a good cleaning. To clean a carburetor, you're going to need a can of aerosol solvent, compressed air, tools to take the carb apart, usually just a Phillips and a flat screwdriver, an old toothbrush, and most importantly, you're going to need some thin wire to clean out the jets. I find the bristles from a brass brush to be perfect for this task, but I also know that some people swear by guitar strings. You're also going to want a clean work surface because you're going to be working with a lot of small parts, and safety glasses and latex gloves are also a good idea because carb cleaner is nasty stuff. The first thing you need to do is drain the carburetor and remove it from the motorcycle. I've already got this carburetor on the bench, so let's just dive into it. First, we're going to clean the exterior of the carb with the aerosol solvent and our old toothbrush. Now, unscrew or unbolt the carburetor top and then remove the piston. And then flip the carburetor over and remove the float bowl. If the inside of the float bowl is full of goo or crust, use your aerosol cleaner and your toothbrush to clean it out. So, the next step in cleaning the carburetor is to remove the float by removing the float bowl hinge pin. Then the float just lifts away and it brings the float needle with it. You're going to want to take a close look at the float needle. If it's got a ring worn in the tip, it's time to replace it. Now it's time to remove the jets. This big guy in the middle is the main jet, and this little guy off to the side is the pilot jet. Sometimes the pilot jet's removable, and sometimes it's fixed, meaning you can't remove it. Unscrew the main jet first and hold it up to the light to make sure it's clear. If it's clogged, hit it with some solvent and then follow that up with some compressed air. If the solvent and compressed air doesn't do the trick, you're going to need to poke the jet clear with your wire. Now, the jets are made out of brass, which is relatively soft, so it's important that you're using a softer material to clean them. That means you don't want to use steel and you definitely don't want to use a drill bit. If you've got a really stubborn jet that you can't poke clear, try soaking it for a few minutes in your solvent. Below the main jet is the needle jet, which also has a lot of small holes in it. You're going to want to follow the same procedure and use your solvent, compressed air, and wire to make sure that all the holes are clear. There's also the pilot jet, which is the small guy next to the main jet. This is the smallest hole in the carburetor and it's the first thing to get plugged up when your gas goes bad. So pay special attention to this guy, because if he's clogged, you're going to have a really hard time starting your bike and it's not going to want to idle. Next, we're going to remove the mixture screw, which works with the pilot jet to meter fuel at idle and partial throttle. This is the mixture screw right here at the end of the carburetor body, not to be mistaken with the idle screw, which just works to set the height of the carburetor slide. Gently turn the mixture screw in and note the number of turns it takes to seat it. Write that number down because you're going to need to reset the mixture screw when you put everything back together. Once you've determined the number of turns it takes to seat it, remove the screw and note that there's often a spring, an O-ring, and a tiny washer in there as well. With the carburetor body fully disassembled, now's the time to spray cleaner through all the holes and passageways. Then follow that up with compressed air. All right, look at that. All nice and clean. Now, just got to reassemble it. And don't forget to set your mixture screw. Half, one, 1.5. Okay, so this little CRF carburetor is really simple, and there's lots of other more complicated and challenging carburetors out there, like this diaphragm carb off an old CB350. The good news is that while the parts may be in different places and look a little different, the checklist for cleaning a carburetor is always the same. You need to clean the main jet, you need to clean the pilot jet, clean the passageways, check the needle, and always reset your mixture screw. Also, if you want to avoid gunking up your carburetor in the first place, use a fuel stabilizer. Today's gases contain up to 10% ethanol, and that stuff does not age well. All right, that's it for this video from the MC Garage. I really hope you learned something. Feel free to leave your comments below, and make sure you subscribe because we've got lots of great content coming up.